Hi friends, thanks for joining in. Welcome to today's video on which I want to talk about the recall. As you can see, on vacation, but I will show you how I teach the recall with a puppy, and later I will show you how I teach the recall for an older dog. How do we teach the recall? We must have a reward that has a high value for our dogs. And as always, it's a little bit different. One dog likes more food, the other dog likes more the toy, and other dogs like more a social reward, as you pet your dog or you just chase your dog, something like this. I teach the recall with puppies with food and a clicker because I think that's the easiest way. But it depends what your dog likes the most. So let's go, and I want to show you how I teach it with my two young puppies. So here I have my 11 weeks old ex-herder puppy. His name is Eva, and I'm going to show you now how we'll start teaching the recall with the puppy. Just waiting. Eva! As you see, I call his name and I click, because the dog does not know what's his name, but he knows the clicker very well. So I classically conditioning calling his name with coming to me getting his food. Eva! Eva! As you see, I wait till the dog's a little bit distracted by something else. Then I call his name and I click, and the dog comes to me. So later he will figure it out. Aha, when I call his name, I better come because I get food. So a little bit. Eva! You see, now the dog also already reacted to his name with a little bit looking to me. I rewarded that. Gave him his food. In the beginning it's a little bit hard because puppies are always with you, and if you train with food, so in the beginning you see it's a little bit hard to get the dog away from you, but I will just walk around and wait till the dog's a little bit distracted by something else, small distractions, and then I will call his name, Eva, and click. And I give him his food. So right now I'm just unclip the dog. Maybe he will go a little bit further away from me. Eva! I also can pet the dog. Yes, good boy. There's a little bit of social interaction. What you also can do if your dog's not getting away from you, you just take a kibble or a little bit of food, throw it away, dog goes, and then you call Eva. Then you call his name so you get the dog a little bit more away from you. Again, I have a little bit. Dog hasn't seen it. Wait till the dog sees it, sniffs it, call Eva. As you can see, we called the dog's name, and he already reacted a little bit to his name by turning his head towards me. One more time, and I think that's good for him. Eva! That's good for me. The dog was already coming a little bit towards me when I called his name, and that's good for me for the first training session in teaching his name and teaching the recall. Yeah, so he gets the rest of his food and he's done. And we'll try that also with his sister in about a minute. So here we have the sister from Eva. Her name is Tora. Her character is a little bit different. She's a little bit more active. She's a little bit more distracted by everything else. And we'll see how it goes. You're maybe wondering why I use a Flexi Leash. That's an easy answer. I think if you have a 5 or 10 meter leash clipped on the dog, the leash is simply too heavy for the dog. So we do not want to make it harder for the dog than it is. Tora! So see, you do the same thing. Call her name and I click. In the beginning she doesn't know what her name is, but we'll try to teach it. Same thing, if she knows, aha, I have the food, it's hard to get the dog away from you, so we try a little bit more. Tora! I think I'm gonna try to unclip her, so maybe I can just cheat a little bit by throwing some food away. Maybe she will go after the food and then I get her a little bit away from me. Tora! So maybe you can see from the sun, or maybe you can notice from the sun it's a little bit hot here. So I try to keep the training session really short. Tora! 1 or 2 more times. And then I'm done with her. We can try also, with her she has a little bit more ball drive. Try to get her a little bit away with the ball. Tora! Aha, perfect. Yes, you can see I called her name and she came. So the food is more value to her than the ball. So we can use that as a little bit distraction to get her away from me. So why is the recall a big problem for a lot of people? There are a few reasons why the recall is never 100%. The first reason is the dog has a lack of motivation to come to you. So either your value you hold for your dog is not high enough, or there are distractions that are more valuable to the dog. For example, there's a rabbit coming out of the fields, the dog is chasing the rabbit. There are other dogs coming that are more interesting for the dog than you and your reward. Or your dog is very friendly with people and always wants to greet some new people. So that's a big problem in the recall. How can we solve that problem? We must teach our dog from the beginning that there's a consequence if the dog is not coming. Because when the dog's ignoring our recall and thus maybe chase the rabbit or plays with other dogs, this is a self-rewarding behavior for the dog. So the dog is successful in ignoring our recall and has more fun doing other things. So that is a big problem, and that's why our recall is never 100%. So when the dogs are older, or you can also start that from puppy age, we teach the recall either with a long leash on the dog's neck or on a harness. So if the dog's distracted by something else, we can interrupt the dog chasing our distractions, and we can say, come to me, you have to come to me and get your reward. So how do we teach our dog later that he can ignore the distractions? We start with puppies in an environment that has not too much or too high distractions. So we teach him what the recall is. I call your name, or I call come, or whatever you want to call your recall, and then you reward your dog. and later you do step by step increase the distractions for the dog. And always make sure you can interrupt your dog when he's interested in something else. So now I'm going to show you another way of teaching the recall with an older dog, but you can also do that with a younger dog. But with him, I'll do the recall, the reward for the recall with another marker. I have another marker word, and I'm going to give him a ball. You can also give a tug or whatever you want to as a reward. I also have different recalls. I make like a whistle sound with my mouth, or I have a word for him. So you can teach it however you want to. Up. Yeah. As you see, as soon as I make the whistle noise, the dog turns, and I reward with my yeah. Up. Zu mir. Yeah. And as soon as the dog turns, I reward or I mark the behavior with my yeah. And yeah means you get your ball. And it's always a little bit about timing. So you must reward or mark the behavior you want to. In the beginning, it's just the turning around, the looking at you, and later you can reward if the dog is right next to you. Yeah. Up. Yeah. Hoppala. And as I said before, you start teaching in an environment where you have low distractions or no distractions. And if the dog has a good recall with low or no distractions, you can add a little bit distractions. But you always must be in control about the distractions, because otherwise you do it harder for the dog than it has to be. So maybe you can ask a friend of yours or your family members if they can make a little bit of distractions with other dogs, or riding with a bicycle, or riding with a car, or making some noises that distract the dog. So it's just teamwork. Find out what your dog wants, find out what's high value reward for your dog, and start teaching with a good marker. In the beginning, always reward small steps. Don't expect too much in the beginning, and then you will have a good recall from the beginning on, from puppy age. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. I hope you learned something new. And as always, if you have any questions, just write it down in the comments. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel to not miss the upcoming videos. As said before, I'm on holiday, I'm on vacation, so it's very hot outside. I'm gonna let my dogs a little bit swim to cool down, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video.